Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for the new moon that's occurring on June 28th or 29th, 2022. So this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the sort of overall collective energy, the numerology for the collective, which of course affects us all or has the potential to influence each of us. And then we're going to break it down into how these energies could influence each individual life path number. Okay, so looking at this illumination, the two most prominent energies being illuminated for this new moon are the energies of the 22-4, which is master level energy, and the 5. So these two energies can actually create a very complementary, sort of expansive, very beneficial synergy when they show up in a cycle together. So a lot of times when we think of master level energy 11, 22, 33, 44, etc., we tend to think of maybe like a lot of challenges or a lot of, it tends to be a little bit more difficult of energy to move through, but the triumphs are just as grand as the potential challenges, right? However, usually that's when we see it in more like life path energy or in a predominant energy throughout your numerology chart. When we see it come in as a cycle, 22 energy can actually be very forthcoming. It can be very, very beneficial energy. It can shower us in abundance. And basically it can be this sort of culmination of all the effort and energy that we've put forth coming to fruition now. And so it can, when we see it come up as a cycle, it's typically very big, powerful, abundant energy, and really a lot of rewards can come through with this energy. So it's really quite beautiful to see it come through in a cycle. And especially if you've been dealing with like 4 energy or anything that's been slow moving, seeing this come through in a cycle or an illumination is beautiful and very welcomed. That's not to say that, challenges and whatnot might not come up. Of course, it's still master level 22 energy, so it's always possible. And of course, it depends on where in the cycle it's falling for you. So if you're at the end of a cycle, then you'll see things come to culmination, come to fruition, and you can sort of be showered in those rewards. If it's the beginning of a cycle for you, and sort of like that germination or gestation sort of initiation period, then it could be the start of a journey that could have some challenges, and that's okay too, right? Because again, the effort that you put forth will, determine sort of the rewards at the end of the journey. So anyway, I just want to mention that because a lot of times when we say there's 22 or 11 or 33 or whatnot energy, it can create a little bit of anxiety just because sometimes that is equated to a little bit more challenging energy. But in this site, it's a cycle, it's an illumination. So has the potential to be beautiful, abundant energy. And then we couple that with the 5, which is just very big, fast moving, expansive, abundant, really freeing energy. And so it's just incredibly beautiful put together. So again, just creates this very powerful synergy that I love to see. So I'm excited for this illumination, to be honest. So this is a fantastic time for big, huge dreams to come true now. As a temporary vibration, again, the 22-4 implies completion on a grand scale, in a very tangible, sort of emotionally fulfilling way. So this isn't lost somewhere in the ether. This isn't energy that's just an idea. This is fulfillment or success on a huge scale. And again, sort of reaching those very real, practical goals now. So, and again, this is a general reading, so it's not going to affect everybody the same way, but it does have the potential to bring this this level of fulfillment, this level of, again, culmination, which is incredibly powerful and beautiful. So we all have the potential to sort of reap these rewards. So this is a great time for making those dreams a reality. And that sounds really cliche, but really this is just such fertile energy to do that you're either, again, could potentially see this come to your dreams come to culmination now, come to fruition, reaping those rewards, reaping that, bringing in that abundance. Or this is going to be a time to really, really initiate, really get started on those big dreams and turning them into something tangible, something within the reality. So this is going to be something that you would have been working on. For those of you that this comes in as some kind of culmination or something coming to fruition, this is going to be something that you would have been working on or with a lot of dedication and a lot of perseverance. And that persistence is paying off in a very tangible way now. So because this is a new moon, which again often symbolizes gestation, inception, planning, or starting something new, it is again very possible for some that this is the beginning of the process that will push you towards accomplishing those big dreams and goals now. So for some, you are now being asked to make the big plans, dare to dream big, and bring those secret desires into the spotlight and make something of them now. With this master level energy of the 22, this isn't something that comes easy necessarily or without us sort of being at the helm of our own ship. We take full responsibility for navigating the stream, where we want it to go and, how we want it to be built. And it's our responsibility to see it through to fruition. So if we can do that, and if we continue to feel the fire and fuel the fire and move towards that and overcome any obstacles that we face, then we can reap the rewards and the wisdom with an accomplished spirit, knowing that we created something tangible from the ether by following our inner compass and our wildest dreams to make it happen. So with that said, 22-4 energy is an energy of collaboration, okay? So this is going to be a time for working with others, sharing ideas with others, asking for assistance. That's a big one, especially with 22-4 energy. That can be challenging for 4 energy as well. It can be challenging. It's a very independent energy. And so it very much wants to sort of do it its own way. And again, it has the vision and it thinks it knows how to get to that end goal. But specifically with the 22-4 energy, it is a collaborative energy. And so it's kind of like to be able to meet these big, lofty goals, it's not something that can be done independently. It's something that has to be, there has to be more energy around this, if that makes sense. So this is not something where it's like you're going to be sort of holed up on an island somewhere. This is going to be something where you need to recognize your own sort of limitations and ask for assistance or guidance when you feel you need it, right? So there's no sort of reward with this energy for swallowing or, being very prideful and being like, I'm going to do it all myself and I'm going to do it the right way or whatever, right? This isn't a very ego-driven energy, right? So it's kind of like if we are driven by our ego or full of pride and we know we need to ask for assistance, but we fail to do so, we're just not going to hit the mark. We're just not going to be able to produce this big lofty energy that the 22 sort of demands. And so again, it's going to be about really a lot of inner work as well to recognize our own limitations and recognize where we don't have all the answers. We don't have all of, everything that we need necessarily within the physical to be able to create whatever this is. And so again, it's going to push us to ask for assistance, ask for help, ask for guidance where we need it. Again, we're not meant to achieve something this grand on our own for solely our own benefit. The integrity of whatever this is will need to come from you, but you are not meant to do whatever this is alone. So share your ideas, learn something new. We will be both the student and the teacher under this energy. So we are meant to embrace it all and recognize it all, right? With the added influence of the 5, we know that change, flux, and transformation are all possible at any time under this illumination. So the key here is to be as adaptable as possible. If your sort of big tangible reward comes in, but looks different than what you had expected, that doesn't mean the overall benefits are diminished in any way. Broaden your scope of acceptance now. How can you find ways to work with whatever you are being presented with now? The 5 energy also brings the expansiveness, the wide open fields to run and play and explore. With this big, expansive energy comes the tendency to sometimes fall into extremes, and self-doubt can also creep in, and we can, become overly restrictive, right? We can fall to that extreme where we've got, again, just sort of that overly restrictive tendency. Or we can fall to the other extreme of overindulgence and sort of scattered energy. And so moderation, again, is always going to be key with 5 energy. So find ways to, be a kid, play in the clouds while also staying grounded. This is also a very practical energy, but very emotive with the double 2s. So again, with 22-4 energy, we have those double 2s. So this is very, very sensitive, very emotive energy. So you may find that you feel sort of hypersensitive at this time. Honor those emotions, move through them, but manage them so that you're not reacting from a hyper emotional space that can sometimes create unnecessary rifts with others. Communication can work wonders during this time. So the strong charge of emotions can sometimes cloud the reality of what is actually taking place or what's actually being said. So use discernment to better understand what's actually occurring, sort of the reality of the situation, and sort of what's happening through the lens of charged emotions. Be able to decipher between the two, and then work with that energy appropriately. So overall, collectively, this can be an incredibly abundant, successful, wish-fulfilling period, whether you're reaping the rewards of your journey completed or you're sort of getting the green light to fully embark on a new one. So make the most of this fantastic cycle because, like I always say, the energy can be present, but it's what we do with it that makes all of the difference. Okay, before we get into the individual life path numbers, I did pull an animal spirit message for this illumination, and we got moose spirit. And I love this because moose energy is bringing with it this energy of like engagement, boldness, and commanding attention. If you've ever seen a moose in the wild, they actually say that moose are one of the animals that you should be the most sort of not afraid of, but aware of, because they sort of spook very easily. And once they get spooked, they sort of, they are sort of driven by their emotions, right? That fear or whatever. And so they can create some damage, not necessarily with the intention of doing so, but just because they got spooked, right? And so it's one where if you see a moose in the wild, you really need to create a lot of space between the two because they are very fast runners. They will command your attention, and they will protect their space, right? Especially if they have young, which is with any wild animal. But what's interesting with this energy is, again, we have engagement, boldness, and commanding attention coming through. And so what I'm really getting with this is, again, this energy of the 22-4 of this is big, bold energy. This is not energy where you're just sort of complacent and just sort of idle and sitting back and just letting whatever these rewards are, whatever come to you. These are things that you have sought after, you have went after, right? Like you have really pursued and you have been ambitious about and persistent about. This is the rewards for your efforts. And so again, if you are somebody who is sort of at the end of this cycle and you're seeing things come to fruition, then you can expect the rewards, the sort of reaping a harvest in direct proportion to what you have sown, right? And so again, if it has been done more independently, then, there's going to be some limitations there. And so again, what you reap is going to be equated to what you've sown. But if this was a collaborative effort, if this was something that, you were open to other ideas, other perspectives, integrating those ideas and those perspectives and that experience and wisdom into your journey, into the project, then again, it just adds to the energy and adds to what you could potentially see come in to fruition now. If you are starting a cycle and you've got this 22-4 energy and the energy of the 5 behind you, then I would take Moose's message to heart. Again, embracing that boldness, that commanding attention, meaning that you're a driving force in this project, this vision, whatever this is. Like, you have to maintain the integrity behind whatever this is. This is your seed. This is your vision. This is your baby, so to speak. And so you are at the helm of your ship. You have to decide what direction it moves into. Now you can get, again, guidance, assistance from the Coast Guard, right? Or from other ships and boats, right? It's a camaraderie, right? It's like a collaboration of sorts. But at the end of the day, you are the commander. You are the one in charge. And so you will reap the rewards of this energy. But again, it's going to be in direct proportion to the efforts put forth. And so again, if you've ever seen a moose in the wild, and even if you haven't, just watch a video of them. They have a very commanding presence. They're these massive, especially full-grown bulls. They are these massive creatures who are not to be underestimated, right? And that's really the energy of the 22, to be completely honest. And then you've got the energy of the 4, which is very ambitious energy and very determined and persistent. And so just a lot here about getting that fire lit beneath you and grabbing the reins and being very commanding about what it is that you want and how you need to get there, and not being afraid to ask for help and assistance, right? Swallow the pride and go for what it is that you want at this time. So definitely, if you feel sort of mild or timid in your approach, then just think of moose energy and sort of, again, that commanding energy. So, okay, let's take a look at each individual life path number now. Life path number 6. Okay, so this is... 6s have some of the more interesting energy coming in under this illumination. Let's put it that way. This is going to be potentially a time where you could see a lot of unusual events take place. So think like contradictions, or again, just bizarre things, kind of where you're like, what is going on? But you're like, you feel like you're in reality, but you don't feel like you're in reality, and you're not really sure what's going on or what you're supposed to do. It's kind of like, I guess this would be sort of like, I don't know, either Neptune energy or like Uranian energy in astrology. It's interesting, but there's a potential for some unusual events to occur for you all. Just again, where those, like weird synchronicities or something coming up and you're like, I feel like I need to do this, but I'm not sure why. And it's just that interesting, weird energy. So just be prepared for potential contradictions, some element of surprise. I would say definitely some element of surprise. So the key is going to be 100% for 6s to be as adaptable as possible during this cycle, because this is 100% for 6s a cycle where anything is possible, and it could leave you a little dumbfounded. Like, again, it's just very weird energy. Like, again, it's that like something happens and you're just like, well, this feels really good, but what just happened? It's kind of like, again, something coming out of the blue and sort of sidelining you or tripping you up a little bit, not in a bad way. It actually feels like very positive, but it's kind of that energy of you really not having control over a situation. And it's almost like the universe is putting you through a fun house and kind of getting a kick out of it. You know what I mean? So, and for sixes who can sometimes be like that, have that perfectionist energy and really kind of need that sense of control, you're not going to have that during this illumination. It's very possible that, again, things are just going to come out of left field and seem very strange, but also feel really, really good and exciting. And, it also could be like meeting somebody and you're like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But it also, you feel like this very strong cosmic connection to this person, but you don't know why, and the reality doesn't really make sense, but cosmically and energetically it makes sense. It's like that. It's like where you can't really put your finger on it, but there's something happening here. There's something percolating. It's just a very unusual energy. And so that's the best way that I can kind of describe it. So you'll be feeling, what the collective is feeling also with these, the potential for the, rewards and culmination and things coming to fruition and all of that I spoke about in the intro. But for you all, there's just sort of like, again, just like this very unusual, very weird sort of energy that is just sort of like, can feel like the universe having a little bit of fun with you, but not in a bad way, like in a way where it's like kind of reminding you to find your sense of humor, to let your hair down, to embrace the weirdness and stay open-minded. So really during this illumination, sixes, adaptability and staying open-minded are going to serve you very, very well. And just try to have fun with it. Whatever comes up, again, it's not necessarily meant to make sense just yet. It will eventually, but at this time, it's one of those things where it's just like, what just happened? And what am I supposed to do with that? And you know what? If you don't know what to do with it, don't do anything with it. Just experience it, whatever it is. So again, just be open-minded and be prepared again for contradictions, for even competition. There is a possibility here for some level of competition. So if it's a healthy competition, great. Have fun with it. Join in, have a good time. But if it's an unhealthy competition, where there's the potential for someone to get bulldozed, or like get hurt in the process, right? Or for it to create some kind of a rift or something like that, then, it's probably not in your best interest to entertain it or get involved. But overall, sixes, just a really interesting, unusual kind of energy at foot. But again, it's not a bad thing. It's just sort of more like a fun energy where it's just kind of, I guess to take the seriousness down a few notches is the only way I can kind of describe it. I would love to hear if anything comes up for you sixes, because this is very unique. You're actually the only number who's sort of working with this very unusual energy at this time. So I would love to hear if anything sort of comes up for you that is sort of like that, where it's like it happened and it wasn't necessarily bad. It was actually kind of fun, but you're like, it made no sense. It was so bizarre. And you're not really quite sure where it's going to lead. So you're just going to follow the breadcrumbs and see. So yeah. Interesting energy. I would love to hear what comes up for you around this illumination if you want to leave it in the comment section below. All right, sixes, enjoy this energy. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun. I'm kind of envious. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye for now.